planes to Rwanda, well, we're told, are set to get very busy. That's if the Tories win the next general election.
Yes, because in their manifesto, the Conservatives are vowing to deport all 90,000 illegal migrants from the UK. If they are still in number 10 on the 5th of July, their Illegal Migration Act will come into full force, giving ministers powers to detain and remove arrivals to the African nation or to their home countries.
Well, joining us now is the Executive Director of Migration Watch, Dr. Mike Jones. And Mike, Rishi Sunak keeps saying this, that the planes have been chartered, the individuals have been, for want of a better phrase, rounded up, and these flights will leave in July. Do you believe him?
Well, no, he's called the election. So for the time being, the Rwanda plan has been shelved. You've got to remember, I think the Conservatives have a more robust policy than Labour do on this. But Mr. Sunak faces a number of problems with Rwanda. The first is legal. There will be a merry-go-round and a flurry of individual appeals, which will slow everything down. There's an operational issue in terms of actually maintaining contact with all of these asylum seekers. Many of them will have absconded. And then, of course, there's a capacity issue, which relates to detention centres here and obviously within Rwanda itself. You know, can Mr. Kagame deliver his promise at speed and at scale?
Now, the Labour Party is very much ahead in the polls, so they're looking like the likely winners of this general election. And in which case, it's very important that their policy on illegal migration gets scrutiny. They say that they will have more caseworkers, so they'll get through these claims quicker than the Conservatives have. There is a question mark over what happens next, because they don't want a third country to send people to, like the Rwanda policy. And they say that those who don't pass the claim, don't get refugee status here, will be deported. But it's very difficult to deport people to countries deemed unsafe. There have been accusations potentially this is an amnesty policy in disguise. What's your take?
Well, Tory HQ has described the Labour plan as not credible. I think that's an understatement of the century. Labour's plan is dangerous and counterproductive. I mean, first of all, they're going to mothball the Rwanda plan. And the vast majority of illegal migrants come from countries that are deemed unsafe by the human rights lawyers. So how are you going to deport those people? That they can't be deported. But on the other hand, Labour has promised to bring many of these illegal immigrants into the asylum system. And they're obviously going to fast track these applications. Fast tracking essentially amounts to a de facto amnesty. So this policy will not only will it be a betrayal of their manifesto pledges, but it will actually increase the pull factor for more illegal migrants to make the journey across the channel.
Mike, is what you're saying that if anyone comes by any mechanism, whether it's by small boat or clinging onto a lorry or just overstaying a visa, travelling on holiday, if anyone comes from any country deemed to be unsafe by lawyers, they'll have the right to stay, basically, under the Labour policy?
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to deport foreign national offenders, FNOs, and some of them, a very small number, are sent back. But if you're a non-FNO, an illegal migrant, and
I suppose in that sense you have to wait for them to do a crime.
Well, yes, and even then, many of them aren't deported. But essentially, this comes back to the Human Rights Act and what they call the principle of non-refoulement. That sounds quite complicated, but it's very simple. Basically, you cannot deport somebody to a country where that person may be at risk of, harassment, humiliation, and any.
Mike, we spoke to Yvette Cooper, the Shadow Home Secretary, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, and she seemed to say that they would work harder than the Conservatives and would be able to return more illegal migrants as a result of that, without a third country in use. I mean, how long would it take to go through these cases individually? It seems a lot of work.
It's a load of hogwash. It's for the birds. It's not a case of working hard. It's about having the legal architecture in place that allows you to fulfill your manifesto pledges. So the most important question in illegal migration policy is this: if somebody arrives illegally, can you deport them? Now, in the vast majority of cases, the answer to that is no. And the Conservatives have a partial roundabout solution to this, the Rwanda plan. The Labour Party has absolutely no answer to this at all. The situation will get worse. It will spiral out of control.
Goodness me. Well, we've got the choice of something that might work but is a bit of a half-baked solution, or something that's no solution at all. What a joyful choice.